So, I grew up in the late 80s, early 90s, much as you did, growing up on movies like Rambo and Arnold Schwarzenegger movies. You had that instilled with you in that young age. So I think that's what drove a lot of us, at a young age to play war in the backyard, with guns and knives. And, that's kind of what propelled a lot of us, I think, in our era to join the military at the time we did.
What got you into the hobby of knives, man?
Okay, well, knives and guns, right? We grew up with Rambo. So I don't know about you, but I love Rambo's knife, all right? And I got some in my closet here, the originals from like the 80s. One day while sitting in traffic, 9/11, listening to the radio, and the planes hit the towers. I stopped school that day, turned around, went to the recruiter, signed up. I just need that little slap on the ass to get me going back into that mindset. But I think that was the case for a lot of us in that time and era. A lot of us, even if we didn't sign up before 9/11, I think a lot of us who had that mindset, 9/11 happened. I mean, that just propelled the nation.
Like your expectations, like once you onboarded, went through boot camp, MCT, and all those things. What was that like for you? Tell me about that experience.
It was shock treatment for most of us. No matter how much you read about it, or how many Full Metal Jacket movies you watch, it's just that feeling is. I remember getting on that bus, and I remember getting off that bus, and you're just like, what the hell did I just do? You're like, wait, can I just go back for a minute? Can I just focus for like a day? There's a lot of angst and anxiety to get where we're going. Once we got to our forward operating base outside of Fallujah, and they kind of gave us the whole rundown and kind of what the future plan would be. And hearing about how we're leaving the army and we're going to go ahead and take over the city because they just can't get it done, so they need us to come in and help out. And it was just like, holy shit. And then it's the size of the city. They were saying population so and so. It was just like it was crazy. We were at the chow hall at night, and mortars started coming in, and we all run to the bunkers. And it was so funny. And you'd see other Marines that had been there a while just walking on by. and later on down the line, I can recall, months at the FOB, we'd get mortars coming in, and me and my buddy Rivera, I'd be like, hey, Rivera, there's mortars coming in. Shut up, let's go back to bed. Early morning, we went into Fallujah on the north side when we started Operation Vigilant Resolve. That was definitely scary as hell for me. When I hit the landmine when we were on patrol, I remember when we hit it, it blacked me out. It threw me down to the bottom of the vehicle, and then I don't know how many seconds I was out for, but I remember waking up, coming to. I ran up onto the top of the vehicle to check on Marifian because he was the driver, and he was knocked out cold.
You mentioned that you got injured in Iraq, and then you also mentioned that you were diagnosed with PTSD. When did you notice, or when did you get diagnosed with PTSD, and what was that like for you?
Being in the military and having those, I was always very, very secretive, especially around junior Marines. I think it's that man mentality. You don't want to show that you have any type of weakness, especially if you're leading Marines and a younger Marine as yourself. You don't want to be that vulnerable person. You don't want to admit you have a problem. You don't want to admit things are bothering you, or that you have this extreme anxiety or these issues going on. And even when I was diagnosed by the VA, it almost felt like you were ashamed to acknowledge that you got some sort of connection.
With your transition, how did you cope with that? Was it like counseling? Was it I'm in the gym all the time? Was it what were you doing?
It was me bottling it up. And I think like most of us did, you push that shit away and you try to, man it up and move forward and just kind of try to forget about it. And it catches up with you. And again, unfortunately, mine caught up with me during the divorce. It was just a fireball of hell that came in. I think that's one of my biggest things that I learned to do is stop looking in the past. Stop thinking what I could have done or what I should have done back then, because I can't, it's over. I'm not going to get that back. Big challenge was I'm just going to go run. I'm going to run till I pass out, have a heart attack, and just don't feel the pain I'm feeling now, but I'll feel a different type of pain. And if most people don't know that are watching this podcast, my big saving grace was running. I run every day. I don't miss a day. I sometimes run 2 to 3 times a day. Running has turned into a religion for me, I should say. I mean, something that helps me each day. I always thought my story wasn't good enough to tell. I didn't think what I was going through or my pain I was going through was good enough to have anybody care. I always thought there's somebody out there having a worse time than me, which is true, 100%. But you can't discount your own story.